Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Gino. And today we have a very, very special guest, my wife, Amanda. How you doing, Amanda?
Hi, Gino.
So today we're going to be asking Amanda a few questions about what it is to be a travel nurse and what it takes and all the pros and maybe cons, if there is. We're going to find out today. Amanda, so you previously became a travel nurse. What month was that? When did you become?
So I started in August of 2021, a little bit late into the pandemic, but it's my only thing I would say is start whenever.
So let's start off with maybe what sparked your interest. What made you want to become a nurse? Because I know there's a lot of nurses out there that, you know, with this pandemic that's going on, they've heard a lot about travel nurses. I'm sure they're working with a lot of travel nurses next to them. So what sparked your interest in saying, you know what, let me look into this?
So what definitely sparked my interest, I was definitely inquiring since the beginning of the pandemic when travel nurses were first coming to our hospital. And a quick intro about me, I've been a nurse for 5 years. I've only worked at one hospital and I've only done the emergency department. So comfort was a big thing for me. I was 5 minutes away from our house and starting to listen to these travel nurses. A lot of them were from out of state. So that's definitely something that I didn't want to do at the beginning. But once I started seeing more local travelers or people from the same state, it really sparked my interest that if they could do it, maybe I can do it. So I wanted to get more info.
Awesome. So, I mean, what one thing can you say stuck out? Like that you were like, yeah, I got to look into it.
Well, one thing that truly stuck out was
it the money? Let's be honest.
Obviously the money. Everybody that's doing this is obviously doing it for a higher compensation, or just also if they're traveling out of state, it is cool to do the whole, you know, you're getting paid to travel type of scenario. But awesome. I feel that the big like nail to the coffin, as some would say, is the third wave or whatever, you know, around that time, there was a lot of influx of patients. We were all with a really unsafe nurse to patient ratio. And I was like, there's a traveler next to me making a ton more money than me, and we're doing the same work.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. By the way, thank you guys. And thanks to all the nurses and firefighters and all the frontline workers for helping us out. We are helping back in the community with our real estate company, with Homes for Heroes promotion. Just in case you guys have any people out there, we do give money back to those that serve. So thank you guys again. Alrighty, back to it. So by the way, I also want to do a commercial break. You're officially our first guest of the show, of the podcast show. So congratulations, Amanda. Okay, moving forward. Hopefully we'll have a lot more people coming in and we can interview them and talk about all kinds of stuff. Alrighty, so another thing that I want to ask you that people have asked you and they've asked me is, when you want to make the jump, what do you look for? Like recruiters? Do you look for it online?
So there's pretty much a ton of different companies. I know when you ask around if you know travelers are willing to give their info, a lot of them will give you the recruiter's phone number and they can tell you like how well they did for them. I found out the website that I did just very quickly, kind of jumped the gun, and I like really fast forwarded into my first contract. So I would definitely say try to do some more research, talk to a lot of travel nurses and get their pros and cons and their do's and don'ts, I would say.
The recruiters, how do they work? Like you just tell them the two do's and don'ts, and do they stay in contact with you a lot, or do you have to keep calling them and asking them? Or are they like sharks, like you're getting like nonstop phone calls once they know that you're out there?
It depends on each company, and at the end of the day, the recruiters have their own business, so each one is gonna run them differently. Some will be more on top of you and some will be like super laid back. I know the company that I'm with now, the recruiter was very by email and they'll call you. Some recruiters are like, I'll text you every day if you need me. So it all depends what you're kind of looking for, if you want a more formal or like more casual experience. Another cool thing, like when it comes to like if you're gonna go from another staff job to another one, you need to do the same process, like your resume, your references.
Okay, cool.
Things like that.
Yeah, I was curious about that because when I used to, like when I worked in retail, so I would have to set up my resume and I have to go through an interview process as well. Yeah. Do you guys have to go through an interview process?
There's no interview process. The hospitals just see that, you know, they look at your resume, they see that you have experience, and if they like the amount of experience that you have, you get picked up a lot quicker. So it all depends on, you know, what you're looking for and things like that. And also if you're not getting enough action with one recruiter, just try going to another one. At the end of the day, they all know you're in it for the money. So
nothing's locked in, so you can shop around. And when is it the last time you can't shop around anymore where you're locked in? Do you have to sign something?
I think it depends who you ask, because I felt like once I signed my contract I was in, because they do tell you, like, if you plan to cancel your contract, you might be blacklisted with the hospital system, which normally they have several in the area. So you might not want to do that. I know some travel nurses are like, I canceled my contract and I went to another one and I'll deal with it later. But I personally think that nursing is a very small world. So you don't want to burn bridges.
Awesome. So next question we have is, how long of the contracts you recommend and how many days a week?
It all depends. I'm a very, we have a real estate business, so I don't want to spend too much time doing nursing shifts.
All your hours?
All of my hours. So I try to keep it to a minimum of 36, maybe a max of 48, if the numbers will make sense. But like, for example, Crucial is in Texas, so a lot of nurses are going there. They're working 6 days a week. But there's a few out here that you can make very similar money just by working maybe 4 to if you want to work a 5th day, and you can stay close to home.
And what's Crucial? What is that?
Oh, Crucial is a travel company that's like considered the crisis pay. That was like the main one that happened during
like in
COVID.
Texas and stuff like that.
And not just in Texas, but they were like they're nationwide, but they're just going more for like crisis areas.
Awesome. So great answer.
Oh, thanks, babe.
You sound like you rehearsed this, didn't you?
No.
I'm kidding. So
I get asked it a lot.
Yeah. So this is a very good question. This is something I would want to know. What do you expect? What to expect on your first day? How do you answer that? What do you expect on your first day? It's a brand new hospital, brand new people, brand new. Drive.
So what to expect is usually your recruiter will send you an email of where to report to, whether it will be in the department that you're going to, or if you go straight to HR, so they can give you your badge if that's not already done and stuff like that. They might make you, fill out a few more paperwork. And from what I received, I was able, and I'm grateful for that, I got an orientation on the unit for day shift that day that I went to orientation for HR, and then also they were nice and they gave me orientation for the night shift. Not all places are going to do that, so you should get at least a shift of orientation.
Let's say it doesn't go so well. Let's say you're like, Matt, Gino, I made a mistake. Everyone here sucks. They treat me horrible. Can I cut that contract short?
I'm sure. So you can definitely talk to your recruiter. I've heard experiences where the travel nurses aren't liking their experience, and they can definitely talk to the recruiter. They've tried it out. They can speak to either leadership, and if things aren't going to go accordingly, your recruiter will definitely help you out and find you another contract. So don't feel like you're stuck in a place for however long, 8 weeks or 13 weeks that you decided to go on. So
okay, cool. So talk to your recruiter, see what your options are, right? But don't make any crazy, like, I'm not going to work today type moves.
Sure.
Not recommended. Alrighty. Yeah. So I know the answer to this one, but I'm sure everyone wants to know. So how do you get paid? Do you get paid weekly, bi-weekly? What do you have to do to get paid? Do you have to fill out a timesheet? Do you have to clock in? What do you have to do? Are you salary?
So what's pretty cool is that you get paid weekly. So it's nice to see every check you get paid weekly.
We share accounts. We're a married couple with share accounts, and I get to see the money coming. It's not bad at all.
So that's pretty cool. Every company will either have you do like a sign-in sheet or clock in. I do both because I'm anal and I want to make sure that my hours aren't going to get messed up. Yeah. And then another cool benefit too is that most of the time you get insurance or benefits on day one, as opposed to when you start like a staff job. I think you have to wait like 90 days, or I don't know.
That's actually a really good question. I'll let you finish the answer, but let's follow with insurance because I don't think we got a question for that one.
So weekly, so going off of it, you can talk to your recruiter. They make you fill out like all of your W-2 and all that information, and then you can decide whether you want to take out taxes or not. So it's just kind of nice. It was seeing that weekly paycheck. As opposed to waiting 2 weeks.
That is great.
You can also plan your PTO. So for example, if you don't want to work holidays, which we plan to not do this year, you can set up your contract and just give yourself like the week or 2 off for that time frame.
Yeah, that's so you know what I love about that? It's like you're working for yourself and you're coming up with your conditions, and they're gonna work with you because
an independent contract.
Yeah, you're an asset to them now, right? So that's an independent contract. So now you're working for yourself pretty much, which is always great, right? Cool. Awesome, man. Thank you. I hope you guys are getting a lot because I'm still learning the positions, and sometimes I'm like, man, I should have been a nurse, but I can't see blood. I'm one of those people. I'm like 6'3", and I'll faint like a little baby. So you said about the benefits. Let's go a little bit into the benefits. The 401k, is there any? And also your insurance. Let's start with the benefits and the insurance. When do you enroll, and does it work the same as the other companies?
So a lot of reasons why a lot of staff nurses don't leave is because they think that the benefits are great and the 401k match. So you will get that on day one with the majority of contracts. Unless you're doing like a crisis contract, they probably won't offer that, but most travel contracts will give you that on day one. Some give you 401k like matching as well.
Wow.
So you get that all on day one. And remember, if you're in between contracts and you want to give yourself maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks off, your insurance won't lapse. You have that like 30-day grace period too. So, and we were able to do like a spouse plan too. So we have dental, we have vision, and obviously
we have everything you need.
And it actually ended up being, for the cost, the same price as I was paying for like a cheaper insurance with my previous employer.
So if you're a nurse scared of the insurance, you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't, no.
Right? So 401k shouldn't be. You're gonna get pretty much everything.
And if you find one, because the one I have now doesn't match 401k, but you're gonna be making, depending if obviously you're budgeting accordingly, you'll be able to, contribute to it fairly.
But there's always that option. If whatever, you could shop around and find out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
cool.
Thank you. So the next question we have is how to decide where to go. Do you go local versus state?
It was something that me and you kind of both looked over. So they were giving really, really high rates for like Western states. We're located obviously in South Florida. So the Western states were giving a really good jump, but the housing was going to be expensive because cost of living is higher. So if you're considering doing like out of state, look at maxing out your stipends, which we'll put the link down below that I got from a friend who's a traveler. And then make sure that it just makes sense for you. Like, what's your reason for going? If you're going to go to enjoy the travel, just remember you might make, just regular take home. So just kind of look at the finances for that. I know we were actually looking a little bit more up north of Florida, and we would have had to pay for a short-term rental. And it just made more sense. You're considered a traveler as long as it's 50 miles or more from your primary residence. So the drive is an hour to and an hour, to go home. So for me, it makes more sense for me to stay locally. Now, if you want to do fully local, that's under 50 miles, you don't get the tax-free stipend. So just make sure when you talk to a recruiter that they can explain what are your take-home numbers after taxes and stuff like that.
So the amount of money, we're not going to go into detail, but we will let you guys look, Google it and look at those contracts. If you want to know about the money, like I said, like Amanda said, we're going to put some links to some contracts and where you can find them. Maybe I just put a Google search where you can find them all.
Like for Vivian.com, those are the ones that it's kind of like most recruiters in one. But definitely don't try to settle for just one recruiter, because when we were shopping, there was a big difference. Like within 3 types of like companies, there was like a big difference per week. So just make sure not to sell yourself short.
Your contract's ending pretty soon, right? When you recommend is the right time to actually start shopping for a contract?
So just keep in touch with your recruiter. Something that I already learned from my first contract was don't sign anything too early, because the numbers can fluctuate significantly. When I signed my contract, I still had about 3 weeks before I started, and the numbers went up a lot higher, and my recruiter wasn't able to do anything for me because I had already signed my contract, or maybe it was just the company wasn't fighting for me enough. So definitely just be in touch with your recruiter to kind of look out for you and let them know exactly what you're looking for. And then, maybe sign something 2 weeks or 3 weeks in advance and decide whether you want to give yourself that little break. Because that's something that's cool about this contract. I'm done. I want to give myself 2 weeks off and then start after. Maybe the numbers might go up with the holiday season, things like that. So
do you see it dying down in the future?
So I don't know. The future is really hard to tell because so many people went to travel, so it might be hard for these travelers to come back to staff. From what I heard from a friend who did travel before this pandemic, there was still travel assignments around, because I have been on the fence about travel nursing since it all started. But I feel like everybody has their own divine timing. So this is just a little quick tidbit that just know that the grass is greener where you water it. So just make sure that wherever you go, make sure that it's going to have the best benefits for you.
I like that, where you water it. I like that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I think that's going to conclude our first guest interview. Let's give it up for Amanda once again. Thank you, Amanda. She's our first guest in our video podcast. We're going to be doing video podcasts. We're going to talk about her nursing lifestyle, about, we could talk about my old retail store manager lifestyle, our brokerage, which is SPG Realty. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy them. If you have any other questions, any other inquiries about Amanda or myself, leave it in the comments. And yeah, we appreciate your time and thank you for coming. Anything you want to say?
I just want to say thank you guys for watching and go secure that bag.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Cheesy as hell.
And cut.
Cut.